I love seeing continuity in Pokemon classes, like the toddlers that were held up by the Pokefans. They've aged, and they are their own class now. How neat! Hello, I am on a journey, an epic quest to explain every class of Pokemon Trainer in Pokemon. What kinds of Pokemon or special rules does each class tend to use and follow, and why? We started in the OG games, and now we've reached a peak. The DS era. Oh, and side note, we won't be covering the evil organizations or the Battle Frontier folks. They'll have their own videos later. Gens 4 and 5 introduced a lot of new Pokemon Trainer classes, and the first one will go over sort of points to Pokemon's aging fan base at this point. Veterans are Pokemon trainers grown up. They've been trainers for decades and appear to be middle-aged. They are like an in-between of the Expert and Ace trainer classes, which I suppose makes sense. They use a wide variety of Pokemon with no real rules other than high-leveled, high stats, and mostly fully evolved. And they can even team up and become the veteran duo class. But speaking of Ace trainers, they have a double battle team class now too. The Double Team. Great name, guys. Well, just like Ace trainers, they use cool, well-leveled and well-trained Pokemon with good stats and also an Ambipom. The Waiter and Waitress classes are interesting. They are what their class says they are, and their Pokemon are thematic to that work, which I love. I wish more Pokemon trainers would do this. For instance, they use a Minccino for help cleaning the tables, a Lampent for mood lighting, Clamperl, Glammeow, and Unpheasant because they are fancy. It's a fancy restaurant. Lilligant for the edible herbs, Magmortar for flambe, and Psyduck because duck is fancy food. Maids work for Mr. Backlot in Platinum, and all use Clefairy. Everyone. In later games, though, they use a variety of Pokemon, mostly found in the Field Egg group. All except for Tammy over here in the Celestial Tower, busy dusting gravestones, I suppose, but you battle her and she has a full team of powerful Steel types. What the heck? The Idols, or rather, Idol, Grace, uses Clefairy exclusively. They are her backup dancers, and every rematch you have against her, she adds one additional Clefairy until her team is full. But then in the remakes, she has a Clefairy and a Pikachu, and that's it. Forever. And hey, what kind of music do you think she listens to through her Raycon everyday earbuds? I mean, look close. Yeah, she's got 'em. That's today's sponsor. Realistically, she's probably listening to her own J-pop music, but I know for sure that she's thinking they feel great, look good, and sound better than ever thanks to their gel tips optimized for a perfect in-ear fit. Look at this dance move. They don't even fall out. Can't stop, won't stop dancing, especially with their 8 hours of playtime, which is increased by their charging case for up to 32 hours of music and dance. And all this at half the price of other premium audio brands. Ow. It's no wonder that her and over 48,000 people have given it a 5-star review. Plus, with my link below, you can join in the dance too and get 15% off of your Raycon purchase. Hit that link in the description or just go to buyraycon.com/Lockstin. That's BUYRAYCON.com/Lockstin. It's me. I'm Lockstin. And a big thanks to Raycon for supporting our channel. The Worker class may appear similar to the Engineer class from before, but they use completely different Pokemon, Rock, Ground, Steel, and Fighting types. This difference is mainly because Engineer is an odd localization of the class's original name, Old Electrician, so clearly they would use all electric types, but the Worker class uses these other Pokemon because they work a variety of jobs. Road work, sewer work, construction, mining in Sword and Shield, where we also get a female worker. And another fun fact is that in Unova, there are 2 different worker looks. These ones work in cold storage and use mainly fighting and ice-type Pokemon. The interviewers from Gen 3 got split up and can fight you individually now, making 2 new trainer classes, the Cameraman and the Reporter, both still mainly using Pokemon that help their work. Chatot and Murkrow for recording what people say, Drifloon for helicopter reporting, Magnemite and other electric types to help with all the electrical equipment and signal, and Mr. Mime or Machop to keep streakers from running in front of the camera.
We're part of a CXS.
The triathletes also got split up in a way. Now there's a Cyclist and a Jogger. The swimmer class already existed, so Cyclist and Jogger are the only new ones. Cyclists use fast Pokemon that can keep up with them, like the regional bird or other fast Pokemon. And Joggers, well, they do the same, now that I actually look at it. And yeah, the little kid from the Pokemon fan class grew up. The Pokekids are kids who love Pokemon so much they refuse to get out of their Pikachu or Eevee pajamas. Ha! What a clown! Like the clown class with their Mr. Mimes, Alakazams, and Ambipom. All for the juggling. There's also the Harlequin class later, which is the same thing, but with different Pokemon. Ranchers and Cowgirls! They run the ranches all across Sinnoh. Well, one of them, because there's only one Cowgirl who is on her own. She has a Ponyta, or 5 Bidoof. Just depends on which game you're playing. And I totally get the Ponyta, because, like, Cowgirls, but, like, Bidoof? I guess they'd be helpful in cutting wood to build barns and fences. The Rancher also made more sense in Platinum, where he uses Rapidash, Miltank, and Tauros, but in Diamond and Pearl he uses Ambipom, Golduck, and Girafarig. What? Juggling all their tasks? Maybe monkey arms like a lasso? Golduck has pitchfork hands. Girafarig is an ungulate? I have no idea. Any ideas? Comments, please. Now, while there's only one solo Cowgirl and Rancher, there are 2 other pairs of them together. When they are together, they make up the Ranchers class. Notice the S, which makes the word plural. Rapidash and Ponyta, unless it's DP you're playing. Then it's Ponyta and Buizel, okay? Or Glammeow and Stunky. Alright, farm cats, sure, but Stunky? Is this a fart joke because crop dusting? Do horses play with buoys or otters? Is this because weasels and skunks are typical vermin to ranchers and farmers? Oh no, the soul alarm is blaring! We must be about to talk about Pokemon Battle Revolution. It has so much soul in its animations. They're so good! If only it put as much effort into its new classes! Like Pokemon Coliseum and XD, a lot of them are just class names that don't mean anything. They have seemingly random teams with no rhyme or reason to what Pokemon they use. Though, a lot more of them do have something going on, this time at least. And interestingly, the player trainer can get a lot of these classes too, depending on their team and how far along you are in the game. For instance, you start as the beginner trainer class and then work your way up. So, I'll go ahead and just quickly list the new trainer classes found here.
Beginner Trainer, Challenger, Bug Catching Man.
Bug types.
Close Siblings, Coliseum Masters, Coliseum Leaders, Cool Beauty, Cute Maniac.
Tends to use small Pokemon.
Electrifying Guy and Shocking Girl.
Electric types.
Fresh Woman, Future Girl, and High-Tech Maniac, Girl in Love.
With her fire and dragon Pokemon for passion's sake.
Hard-headed Girls.
Use Pokemon with hard heads.
Hiking Club Member.
As opposed to
Hiking Girl, Joe's Groupie, Icy Guy, Leader in Training. Lone Wolf, Magician's Apprentice, Masterclass, Youthful Couple, Mature Couple, May-December Couple.
Oh, that's a term. A May-December relationship is a romantic relationship where one partner is significantly older than the other. But since it's a pun, these trainers always use ice and grass types because winter and spring, May and December.
Muddy Boy.
Ground types.
New Star, Novice, Ordinary Guy,
And
Ordinary Girl.
specialize in ordinary Pokemon. Normal types.
Picnic Girl, Passionate Riders.
Use fire types, as do
Passionate Men, Pikachu Fan.
Not one of them has a Pikachu!
Poison Tomboy,
okay, poison types.
Sci-Fi Maniac Rookie, Sachet Fan Club, Steel Spirit.
Uses steel types.
Stubborn Boy,
Uses all rock types, like a stick in the mud. Or a rock, actually.
Swimming Club Member,
Water types mostly.
Swimming Champ, 3 Brothers, 3 Sisters, Tomboy, Traveling Lady, Traveling Guy, Twin Brothers. That's it.
And that's it. We can get back to the main games now with a Heart Gold and Soul Silver exclusive class, if you can even call it that. The Elder is basically the head sage at Bellsprout Tower. He's just like the other sages, but like the best one. The artist is also an old guy, French looking. He's got his painting board and he's doing that thumb eye thing in every iteration, except in Sword and Shield, where he's this guy. Bit of a sculpting maniac. I wonder if that's a reference to famed British sculptor Henry Moore or something. That Pikachu statue is styled in the same way he does his statues. And I like how in X and Y they have 2 artists, old and young, and she's just going ham with the paint. Modern art is all about just doing what feels right on a canvas, no? Well, no surprise that they use Pokemon that are artsy-fartsy or good models. Smeargle for the paint, Cricketune for the violin music, Mr. Mime and Sudowoodo for being super still while modeling. Artist Go uses a sunflora, clearly a reference to Van Gogh's sunflowers. Madames were previously known as socialites and are older women who tend to be fancy. Besides in Sun and Moon, where they're just kind of grandmothers, it seems. They use the fancy and luxurious Pokemon, of course. A lot of Lopunny and Roselia, Parugly, Liepard. And I guess in Sun and Moon they are still rich, as their Pokemon of choice are Carbink and Delibird. Gifts galore. They pay out really well when you beat them, even if all you used was a single move on their Comfey. Sports time! The strikers are soccer players. A strike in soccer is an accurate, driven shot kicked with the top part of the shoe. These guys often use fast Pokemon, or Pokemon that help them out, like Hitmonlee for the kicks, or Graveler as a goalie, but also Liepard as a mascot who's fast, and Swanna for the moves? Big goalkeeper wings? Smashers are tennis players and don't use as useful Pokemon to them, but still a large variety. I mean, there's Whimsicott, a reference to the shuttlecock perhaps, and then Lilligant, Jellicent. I guess badminton is a high-class sport of sorts. And Zebstrika, black and white tennis shoes? Rich people have horses? A linebacker is a defensive guy in American football, and their Pokemon of choice are mostly fighting types, and the few Pokemon that aren't are still typically bulky with higher HP and or defense stats. Waitress is even kinda hand-egg shaped, no? Hoopsters are basketball players, and I like how their basketball is colored like a Pokeball. We've got some interesting mon here, like the Roggenrola line. Okay, it's ball-shaped. Whirlipede? Yeah, same. Leavanny. Wouldn't they pop the ball? Stoutland? Is that an Air Bud reference? My favorites, though, are Nicholas and Derek, sort of rival hoopsters with rival Pokemon teams. An infielder is a baseball player that is in the field. Can you tell I know sports? They use a wide variety of Pokemon, but all seem to be helpful, like the not-so-wise monkeys. Good at sports all around. There's a Timber and a Cubone. Those are like baseball bats, aren't they? And Bisharp is like the catcher or umpire. And now that sports are done, it's time for the bakers, the backers, and the backpackers. Backers are cheerleaders and shouting guys that may also be cheerleaders. I'm not sure how sports work, but you find most of them at the small court in Big Stadium because it's where they work. Their Pokemon make perfect sense for their job. Swoobat for the hype and the screaming, Monkey Things for the complex cheerleading moves, and other Pokemon that are common American sports mascots. Bisharp even just looks like a football player, doesn't he? Bakers are fun women who have Pokemon that help them with their job. Combi, Miltank, and the Pan Monkeys. Torkoal and Heatmore for the baking itself. It's cute. Backpackers are outdoorsy, camp-loving adults who carry their weight in supplies. In Gen 8, they even have the all-natural, obsessed hippie look going on. A lot of them give out max repels upon defeat, which is pretty good. Living outdoors so much would make you, definitely want that. It's like mosquito repellent. They too use a wide variety of Pokemon, but most commonly normal, ground, and flying types. Though some do get thematic. Jill collects fossils while out and about, and Kylo uses an Excadrill for digging shelters, and a Heatmore and Beartic for cooking and food storage. And all the flyers are good for scouting and berry plucking. Depot agents, now known as railroad staff, are staffed by the railroad company and give depots their agency. They use ground types to help them work the trains, and all of their Pokemon happen to be in dusk balls because they work late hours. And the pilots are sort of the same, but in the air, so flying types. The Doctor specializes in psychic Pokemon, but does branch out a bit. The linking factor is that they heal, like Audino, Musharna, and Duosian. The Nurse, of course, then also uses Pokemon with healing capabilities, as well as use full heals during battle. Some of them even give out full restores and max revives when defeated, or act as temporary Pokemon centers. How perfect! Nursery Aides, also known as preschool teachers, also use a variety, though mostly normal-type Pokemon. They are child-friendly things, like Miltank, Dunsparce, Clefairy. Kangaskhan is here because it just knows how to calm rambunctious little ones, that's its whole shtick. And Jigglypuff and Chandelure can help lure them to sleep. And in the battle subway, they use dragon types because they have to vent their frustration somehow. You can't do that on the kids! And then the preschoolers themselves have very low-leveled, simple Pokemon, often baby Pokemon, or things that little kids like to play with. Gen 5's musician looks like a country or indie pop singer at college that nobody likes, or really likes. There is no in-between. And then in Gen 8, he's like a white Drake knockoff. They use Pokemon with a lot of sound moves, of course. Chatot, Maractus, Wigglytuff, Blitzel, and Togedemaru are powering the amps, perhaps. And then the dancer varies even more wildly. First, we have a street break dancer, and then a hula dancer, and then a hip-hop dancer. And so, the Pokemon they use vary quite a bit too. The hula dancers use mainly Oricorio in all its forms, fitting as they too are all dancers. The break dancers surprisingly don't use Hitmontop, like what the heck? Instead, they use the Pan Monkeys or Darumaka, Mr. Mime or Scraggy. Yeah, I mean, I guess those make sense. Mr. Mime kinda does the robot, and Scraggy has the pants. But speaking of Scraggy, you'll find them amongst the Hooligans, which is a combo team of a biker and a roughneck. You'll also find them using other dark types like Drapion and Crocodile. And if you happen upon a Rob and Sal, a Cottony and Petlil. Yes, it's the same joke as the last games, but again. And here's Charles, the only guy in the Motorcyclist class. He teaches you about triple battles and, as such, has 3 Pokemon that sort of work well together. And they are kinda tough and manly too. For the early game, anyway. Here's the Janitor. He's a janitor. Guess what he uses? Poison types mainly. Coughing, Trubbish, Alolan Muck. Though some have junkyard dogs, like Lilpup. And some janitors have more cush kinda janitorial jobs. Being a janitor at an office building, Brady has an Azurill and Cincino for washing windows. And then there's the actual office workers, also known as clerks. Their original sprites are absolutely inspired by the Japanese salaryman trope, as well as the whole overworked office lady dropping her papers trope. And there's even a second male sprite in black and white that looks like the boss or manager of the office. Clerks use a huge variety of Pokemon, all with seemingly no linking factor, other than, I guess, common Pokemon? They don't have time to go off adventuring, so they just have your everyday, average Pokemon that are kinda underleveled. Some get into Pokemon battling as a hobby and actually have full teams of one type, but most are just kinda, yeah, it's a pit of Growlithe, Alolan Diglett. Oh, daring today, aren't we?
Game Freak!
All caps. Oh, it's an Easter egg of a Pokemon class. Their teams tend to be very strong and well-trained, and many of their Pokemon are references to some inside joke at Game Freak, such as Game Freak Morimoto having his main Pokemon be a Snorlax, as his real nickname in real life is Kabigon, which is Snorlax in Japanese. In Sun and Moon, he uses exclusively Gen 1 Pokemon, and all of them in repeat balls, as Sumo was a celebration of Pokemon's 20th anniversary. Warlords. They are all the warlords in Pokemon Conquest. We have a video right here explaining each one. And the only other class in Pokemon Conquest are the warriors, and really they're just the not warlords. World Champion is a fun class. They are based on the winners of each division of the 2012 World Championships, and they have the teams that they actually used. Same with the World Runner-Up and World Finalists. I kinda wish they continued doing this. Actors! It's time to talk about Pokestar Studio classes. And if you don't know, Pokestar Studios is like a series of side quests? Minigame battle things? Basically, your Pokemon star in movies. And these events are the movies being made. And because this is fiction within fiction, there are quite a few oddities within here, to say the least. But these are all programmed in the game as classes, so I have to cover them. We'll start with the basic ones. The actors and actresses of Pokestar Studios swap their Pokemon and their not Pokemon around all the time based on their acting role. Though Isabella and Fabio always use Smeargle, just like all of the A-list actors. Acting is a form of art, is it not? The only others with set Pokemon use Animulga, likely due to its cutitude. It's the Pikachu clone of the region after all. And there's an actor in Alola who uses Oricorio in all of its forms. And it turns out being a chic actress gives you a different class, though they still only use Smeargle. And when actively acting, they change their class and are now cute trainers. Oh, and a fine actor. And oh how fine Terrence is, with his Gligar and Drifloon. And Monica. This is a Pokemon you battle. I love introducing this to Pokemon fans who don't know about Pokestar Studios. Like, what? Well, Monica is not only a Pokemon that you battle, she's also a trainer too, and so a trainer class. She's the girlfriend class. It's Monica, the girlfriend. Wow. When not acting though, she uses the Unique Star class. Oh, and there is a boyfriend class too. And these same actors also play the popular boy and popular girl class, and the little sis class. Meanwhile, the new actress gets 2 beefy Tyrannitars. And the celebrity class, which is totally different from the actress class because not all celebrities are actresses, even though this celebrity is, uses Suwaddle, because of movie plot reasons. The Child Star has these Pokemon, including when she's the Haunted Kid class, and the Haunted Man class uses the Gengar line, or Possessed Props. The Movie Stars are just Bryson and Sabrina, but while they are getting ready for acting instead of being gym leaders, and the Star Actor is some guy in a motion-tracking green screen suit. He's playing the role of the old statue who is the Treasure class, and uses a Golurk. Oh, and there are other guys in suits. Suit Actor, oh man. They use whatever the plot demands. The assistants use the Transporter and F-00 because it's a movie. Big Star is this old guy who's been quite the actor for decades. He uses Majin. And the more generic class here is the Veteran Star. The Weird Light class is for exclusively. Yeah, 3 question marks is its name. What do they use? Tyranitar. The Comedian, dressed as a worker, uses a freaking kaiju mecha Tyranitar, and the Strange Lady, who is also the Magic Queen class, summons Living Doors. The Strange Man class summons the Dark Mecha Tyranitar, and the Masked Man is a supervillain. It's Bryson. And his jet has its own trainer class too. It's the Battleship class. Yeah, you fight against a battleship as a class. Bryson also plays the World Police class, which uses bug and fighting types, the 2 types that represent justice. And the Gatekeeper class is an adorable plush toy that uses the gate. The Enigma class summons a UFO, as does the Invader. And then later, that UFO itself is a class because why not? It summons alien-looking Pokemon. And the Red Fog? Yeah, Red Fog is a trainer class. It summons monster humanoids. And this next one is definitely my favorite. It's the Future Being class. It's a Ledian with a magic stick. The Pokemon it throws out? A black belt and a time machine. But yeah, it's just a guy. It's hilarious. The plot of that movie is that there's a timeline where Pokemon capture and use humans for battling the horror. Well, back to the mainline stuff. There's only one more class to talk about for the DS era, the Bourgeois family, also known as the Riches. Similar to previous family classes, each one uses art from another class, and they've got a gimmick. You can challenge the family to battle once a day, and all the battles for that day happen with no break between them. Being rich, they of course pay out with high reward, and they each use one additional Pokemon than the family member before them. Draco, the young boy, has a Buizel, typical little boy Pokemon, but also it's got a nice regal fluff color. Susan, the young girl, has a Teddiursa and Lopunny, typical young girl things. Grandma Clairedonna has a Kangaskhan for its motherly qualities, and Bronzor and Golurk as ancient collectible artifacts, like a grandma. Grandpa Zillion likes refined food and juice, so Licky Licky, Shuckle, and Frog Legs. And is it just my grandparents, or do elderly people tend to really like frogs? Is that a thing? And he also has a Crocodile for that old man gruff and tiredness and that, hey, I'm gonna tickle ya, grandpa thing. Mother Trish is a bit fancy, so Weavile, Vespiquen, and Kingdra are fitting right away. Then Excadrill matches her dress and is a mole, so like a beauty mark. And then we got Heatmore, who, isn't pretty or elegant. Maybe she's into bad boys, motorcycle gang members, or maybe she just super hates ants. Then again, we don't know why they are rich. Maybe they own a mining facility. I mean, what's better than ruining Durant's tunnels than a Heatmore and Excadrill? And then, the eldest son, Miles, has pretty straightforward Pokemon. I'm a big kid now kind of manly stuff. You got wheels and axes and freedom, but also messiness. And finally, the Bisharp, showing that it is he who is next in line of the refined gentleman, next in charge. And, also a fish. Maybe just type coverage or because it's shiny like riches. And like all these trainers in the family, most trainers in these games have teams that work really well for them. We just can't go over every single trainer, you know? Alright, maybe someday. For now, though, that's every trainer class that was introduced in the DS era explained. Besides those related to evil organizations and Battle Frontier type stuff anyway. Have anything to add? Let me know down below, and until next time, never stop using your noggin.